Alright guys, we're going to continue the Mystery Tackle Box Slam of the Year. This is the October portion of it. If you didn't see September's, you can click on the bottom link here and watch that video. Or you can click in the bottom right and look at the scoreboard. We got a narrow lead here, so we're going to need to catch some more big fish this month. And also this month we're getting the Mystery Tackle Box Pro Edition. So let's open it up and see which 5 lures we have to fish with. Alright, there's our card telling us what all we've got here. Alright, we're starting off with some topwater with a River to Sea Rover. That's a spook bait that ought to be really good here in the fall. We've got a Freedom Hybrid Jig. That looks like you could put a good swim bait on the back of it and either use the skirted portion or just a straight swim bait. A Rapala DT14. That's good, I've used those before. That means it dives to 14 feet. You got a good looking shad pattern there. That ought to work good. Might do some ledge fishing. Try to find those deep schools of bait fish. A Biospawn Vile Crawl. That's good looking June bug color right there. Can't beat a June bug crawfish. And an Optimum Baits swim bait. That's a clear version. We may have to make some adjustments to that. I'm kind of fishing in some murky water, so we may have to put a little red, may have to make a few adjustments to that. I'll show you what I'm going to do to it in a minute. In clear water, you could probably see that really good. That'd be a perfect color for clear water, but since I'm fishing murky water, we're probably going to have to tune that just a little bit. And some Owner 4/0 hooks. So we got another good box. You can tell that Mystery Tackle Box, they're really tuned in to fall fishing. Got crankbait, spooks, swim bait, jigs, that sort of thing. So they really, you know, that's a perfect box for the fall here. You want to find that shad pattern and fish, you know, all different depth levels. We got topwater bait, and we can fish the mid-range with the swim baits, or we can fish deep with the deep diving crankbaits. So let's get all this tied on, and we'll see what we can catch. Alright guys, I'm going to show you a quick before and after. This is the Optimum Bait swim bait. I'm going to use a Spike It garlic marker. I'm going to put some chartreuse and red on it. I use that marker a lot to paint my frogs and that sort of thing. So we're just going to touch this up just a little bit so it'll be a little easier to see it in murky water. Alright guys, so there you go. You can see I added a little bit of a red lip there and a chartreuse line down the back. And that should make it a lot easier to stand out in that murky water. So we'll get it rigged up and we'll see if we can catch some fish. Alright guys, I'll give you a little bit of in-depth look at my technique here. You see these bait fish, they're sitting right here off the bottom. It's about 13 feet deep and that bait goes up to about 8 feet. So they're piled up here on the bottom, and I'm taking this Freedom Stealth Jig. I've got it paired up with a 4-inch swim bait, and I'm just vertical jigging it right over the side of the boat. So I'll drop it down and it'll go all the way to the bottom, and I'll just jig it up right in the middle of all those shad. And I've already caught a couple on this technique. And you can see some of the bass chasing through these shad here. So it's a good technique for fall fishing. You find those shad and the bass will be nearby. Alright, I got that one on the Freedom Jig. I had a little swim bait on there. I was just jigging it up and down off the bottom. Freedom Jig there. Right at 18 inches. Alright. That's a fat one. Nice fish on the crankbait. Oh, that's a healthy one. Perfect fall pattern. 20 inches. And that one doesn't get any extra credit for being fat, but that's a nice one. Good healthy fish. Look at there. Finally got one on the swim bait. Still using the same technique, just vertical jigging it. I like to think that color added a little bit to it. That's a good looking one. All right. Looks like 23 inches. Optimum baits. Alrighty, that's a nice one. I put that biospawn vial crawl on a on my jig head and kept vertical jigging like I've been doing. It's been a pretty successful pattern, so I decided I'd test those crawl legs out, and it took a little bit longer than those swim baits did, but finally got a decent one to bite. It's a nice healthy looking fish. Been eating good. 20 inches. All right, that was a nice one. Well guys, that's going to wrap it up for my slam. This river to sea spook is the only thing I didn't catch a fish on. The fish were just on a deep pattern. I finally located a deep school, and I used vertical jigging and a deep diving crankbait to get on those fish, but they're just not interested in topwater at all right now. So I made a bunch of casts with this, but just couldn't connect with anything. And I'm doing this in the same format as a lot of guys do, where you do all your fishing in one day. So I'm not going to be able to come back and fish with this anymore, but we got some good quality fish. I really enjoy that vertical jigging technique. It's very versatile. You can use a lot of different baits, and it's easy because once you find your fish, you can just sit right on top of them and jig that thing right, below the boat, and it's easy to stay on top of them that way. But if you have any questions about vertical jigging or want to know more about it, just leave me a comment below, and we'll see you guys in November.